ironically, perhaps, nature, the most prestigious of...
Of course, I'm a bit provocative. To provide scientific but a complex innovation system, leadership is a defined... if we are in a process of...
I know what you're talking about, but let's in a sense...
Welcome back to the studio to an interview with Sabine Herlitschka. You just saw a video of her panel. I'm going to introduce Sabine first. She is an Austrian scientist and executive. She serves as CEO and CTO of Infineon Technologies Austria, a subsidiary of the global semiconductor company Infineon Technologies. And she also holds very different roles, both on European level and on the Austrian level. For example, she's also the vice president of the Federation of Austrian Industries. And in 2021, I believe you were named Manager of the Year by the Austrian business magazine Trend. I could go on and on. Sabine is quite a name in Austria and in Europe. I'm very pleased to have a fellow Austrian standing next to me. So Sabine, first of all, how are you today?
Excellent. I mean, at the Drucker Forum, this is such an inspiring environment.
It's really lovely that you're here. We just saw you on the panel. Can you give us a summary of the main points and the main takeaways?
Well, this panel was about unleashing the science innovation potential. So we were talking a lot about science, scientific excellence, how it interacts with innovation. And of course, innovation means bringing technologies, products successfully to the market and generating value. So we had a highly energetic discussion on what successes we have achieved so far and what's further to be done to strengthen and boost the potential of innovation that we have, which always means kind of non-linear innovation and an agile cooperation of universities, research organizations, companies, and the entire ecosystem.
In our preparation, I believe we touched on collaboration as well, so we're going to focus on that a little bit later on. First of all, I would like to talk a little bit about Infineon. Can you tell us more about the company, what you do? And also, I believe that 2 celebrations are due because you just announced major leaps. I believe you also brought something to show to us. So yes, share a little bit more about Infineon and your recent successes.
Yeah, with pleasure. So Infineon is a global semiconductor company. We address with semiconductors areas like sustainable mobility in the automotive sector, energy efficiency, security and connectivity, so technologies that foster digitalization and decarbonization. So it's technology with a purpose. And many of you might know us unconsciously because you use our products, for instance, in the cell phones, with the microphones, in all kinds of mobility approaches. Our products are represented, or with security cards or identity cards. In many of those, we provide the security chips, for instance.
So chances are quite high that we're surrounded by a couple of semiconductors by Infineon without us even knowing it.
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
The 2 major innovations, what are they?
Yeah, we're extremely proud. In the last couple of weeks, actually, we could announce 2 major next steps, driven very much by the vision and motivation to contribute to managing the green transformation, unlocking the huge potential of energy efficiency, energy-saving chips, as we say. And I have such an example here. That's what you see, or maybe not see, because it's such a small chip. And this chip is designed to contribute unlocking the potential of energy efficiency in combination with renewable energy like wind or photovoltaic and efficient transmission, and what ends up at your computer, for instance, or smartphone or any application is then much more energy efficient and as such reduces the emission of CO2 and is a tangible contribution to a successful green transformation. And we are so proud having managed to get to the next level. The one thing is using even more energy efficient new semiconductor materials. Gallium nitride is one of those materials, and being able to produce them on larger diameters of the basic material, wafers as we call them, 300 millimeter diameter wafers for this gallium nitride chips to be applied for, as we say, power technologies. Why is this important? Because we have higher productivity, 2.3 times more chips, and being capable to apply that to more competitive costs with a top quality that is competitive to silicon chips that have been done so far. So we are the first one worldwide to provide that, and therefore we are very proud of that. And the second one is based on silicon, a very thin wafer, 20 micrometers. This is, say, a quarter of a hair of yours. And why is it important to have this material so thin? Because current, electricity passes it vertically. The thinner the material, the even more efficient it can be. So even more usage of energy efficiency.
Hearing how passionately you talk about these innovations and how much enthusiasm you have makes me want to research more about the semiconductor industry, even though I don't know much about it. So thank you for giving us a glimpse into what surrounds us every day. It's very fascinating. I can imagine that a lot of different people work together for you to be able to bring forth these innovations. And in our pre-discussions, I believe we also talked about how at Infineon you really try to have this innovation culture everywhere and have it trickle down to every single employee. Can you share a little bit more about the culture of innovation at Infineon and how you managed to create that?
Well, we have in Austria, if you take the Austria look, we have 6,000 colleagues, some 2,500 working in research and development. We have manufacturing here and global business responsibility. All of those people, all of those colleagues, and including, of course, also the colleagues at corporate level, they are driven by the enthusiasm for coming up with contributions, as mentioned earlier, being able to provide solutions so that we can manage a successful green transformation. So what's the driver for innovation? Of course, it's the competence, the know-how, it's the enthusiasm of the people and the framework we generate so that people can really be active in this field. Of course, this also depends on the customers, finding the customers who want them to apply that. So it's creating a framework for people to be innovative, to invest their creativity and do that in cooperation, typically also beyond disciplines. In Austria, I have colleagues amongst those 6,000 of 80 different nations, 80. So we have a huge, diverse community of the best and brightest.
It really sounds like you continuously dedicate time and energy towards innovation. Do you maybe have one or two formats or tips you can share with companies that want to foster innovation as well? How to bring it into practice?
Yeah, we have an annual innovation budget that we provide based on a competition. So people can come up with the best ideas. They compete then to get funding for 1 year, and as such, implement the ideas, the concepts, and we have them then present the results. So The first aspect is provide some kind of venture-like funding to implement ideas in addition to the, let's say, more regular development that takes place in the business-oriented divisions. And the second one is an innovation award. Once per year, again, of course, presenting the best innovations, again, based on a competitive basis, so people have to compete also within Infineon. And there we have different categories. The best innovation, but also categories like, for instance, proudly found elsewhere. What have I been able to use from others and build on that results? And the other one I like very much is called the most successful failure, which is this kind of learning award, which means what have I learned from unfortunate failures? No one is happy about that, but the key is always what have I learned from that, and fail fast, learn fast, and further develop.
Yeah, the best friend of innovation seems to be failure and learning from it. Sounds like you really...
And exchanging with others.
Yes, and exchanging with others. Thank you for giving such a tangible example. I can imagine that a lot of you listening can apply that as well. Another factor to your success seems to be networks and corporations. When I look at your CV, you're involved with so many different institutions, educational institutions, etc. And that also applies to Infineon, that you have a lot of different corporations and networks built up to ensure your success. Can you elaborate a little bit on what role these networks play, why it's so important, and who you partner up with?
Yeah, I think the basic motivation is the conviction that even if an organization spends a lot on R&D, we are at this point the most R&D intense company based on rankings in Austria, but still, I think the conviction is so important. With all we do, with all we invest, with all those great minds and knowledge, no organization nowadays is capable of having all the know-how needed. And therefore, I would even say successful cooperation is the new leadership, which means working together with the best actors in research at higher educational institutions, smaller and bigger companies, all kinds of institutions, maybe also in the application area, customers, but even going beyond that. So being able to create cooperations that represent, that shape this kind of win-win situation. I mean, it's such a buzzword, but it's so true, nevertheless.
How do you make sure that you're aligned with your cooperation partners?
Yeah, that's work, yeah. First of all, aligning and agreeing on the target. What do we want to achieve together? What does every partner bring to the table? And then also manage it. Yeah, we are here at the Drucker Forum.
That's lovely. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. To sum up, creating a culture of innovation with creating this environment of almost entrepreneurship, I think is something that I heard, and also really networks for success and collaboration being the new competition, or at least a very important factor into producing new innovations such as yours. Thank you so much, Sabine, for taking the time and joining us at the Peter Drucker Forum, for taking time at the panel, but also in the interview with me. I hope you have a really nice rest of the forum. Thank you everyone for watching, and yes, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks so much.